In the year 2077, the virtual game Apocalypse became a reality. The world's order collapsed, and Earth turned into a living hell. Humans began awakening supernatural abilities. In this chaotic world, Zhang City's richest playboy, Ye Xiao, managed to protect Qin Yanran at all costs. He spent a fortune hiring 10 experts to help her level up, ensuring she had access to the best resources. He spared no expense, even depleting his entire fortune to buy a divine artifact for Qin Yanran. Whenever valuable opportunities or equipment appeared, Ye Xiao immediately handed them over to her. Thanks to his support, Qin Yanran finally rose to become a god-tier powerhouse in the Dragon Country. Today was supposed to be their wedding day. Everyone was overjoyed to see what they believed was a match made in heaven. Many even envied Qin Yanran, dreaming of having such a wealthy, devoted man propose to them. However, at the wedding ceremony, Qin Yanran smiled and hugged Ye Xiao, only to suddenly declare that she would never marry him. Right before his eyes, she tore out his heart. Shocked and in agony, Ye Xiao asked why she would do this. Lying on the ground at death's door, he couldn't fathom why the woman he loved with all his heart would betray him so cruelly. Qin Yanran replied that money couldn't buy her true feelings. She accused Ye Xiao of trying to use lavish gifts to coerce her affection. She accepted his gifts, but that didn't mean she shared his love. Everything she had achieved was due to her own hard work. The only person who truly understood her struggles was Zhou Hong. She intended to give Ye Xiao's heart to Zhou Hong so she could hear its heartbeat every day. To her, that was the ultimate romantic gesture. Realizing that Qin Yanran and Zhou Hong had only used him for his wealth, Ye Xiao watched in despair as Zhou Hong laughed and stepped on his face. Everything that belonged to Ye Xiao now belonged to Zhou Hong. Just like that, Ye Xiao died, still unable to understand why Qin Yanran had betrayed him after he sacrificed everything for her. His heart was filled with fury. He refused to let things end this way. He wanted them to pay for what they had done. In the midst of his rage, Ye Xiao suddenly opened his eyes and found himself in a familiar place. Qin Yanran was standing before him, shouting at him. She demanded a little more of his money, claiming she was only taking it to preserve his dignity, and warned him never to bother her again if he continued clinging to her. Ye Xiao barely registered her words. He was too shocked. Had he been reincarnated? It dawned on him that he was now back in the week before Apocalypse descended. There were 200,000 yuan on his card, the monthly allowance he used to give Qin Yanran. Recognizing the scene unfolding before him, Ye Xiao realized he had truly returned to the past. Qin Yanran continued berating him, complaining that classmates called her a gold digger for taking his money, causing her endless mental anguish. Remembering the betrayal he had suffered, Ye Xiao glared at her, rage burning in his heart. This time, he wouldn't let history repeat itself. Scared, Qin Yanran asked Ye Xiao if he was regretting his actions. In response, he quickly pushed her away and told her that if she was only taking his money for his own good, then he would never give her anything again. Hearing this, Qin Yanran suddenly softened her tone and asked if this was another one of his tricks. She said that since he had come all this way, she would reluctantly accept his card once more. But Ye Xiao, furious, ordered her to get lost immediately. Shocked at his sudden change in attitude, Qin Yanran demanded to know how he dared to speak to her like that, warning him that he would regret it. Ye Xiao then removed her shoes he had paid for, and told her to leave them behind before she left. Incensed, Qin Yanran shouted that he shouldn't think a little bit of money made him so great, and that he should remember what he had done today. She vowed that even if he knelt and begged her in the future, she would never acknowledge him again. Ye Xiao tossed the shoes into a nearby trash bin, replying that if she truly never wanted to see him again, that would be a blessing. He warned her not to appear in front of him anymore, because he had more important matters to attend to than waste time on her. At that moment, Ye Xiao recalled that the Apocalypse beta test would begin in just 1 week. During the first 10 minutes of that beta test, the recharge system would be briefly activated. He needed to secure enough funds before the test started. He immediately contacted Ye Lin, a relative who had always wanted to buy out his shares in the family corporation. He told her he was willing to sell all his shares. Ye Lin was surprised to hear that Ye Xiao suddenly wanted to sell all of his shares. Ye Xiao explained that he wanted 20 billion for the shares, not a cent less. If she agreed, she would have 5 days to complete the paperwork and transfer the money into his account. Ye Lin readily agreed, assuring Ye Xiao there would be no problem. She was pleased to see him finally decide to hand over Ye Corporation to her. However, Ye Xiao reminded her that there was no time for idle chatter and told her to call him once everything was ready. With his financial problem now solved, Ye Xiao only needed to wait for the Apocalypse Beta to arrive. This time, he thought, I'll climb to the top alone. A week later, the Apocalypse Beta arrived. Ye Xiao quickly registered and created his account. A welcome window appeared, informing him that this was the beta version of the game, which would last for 3 days. After that, the public version would go live. Logging into the game gave Ye Xiao a familiar feeling. This is it, he thought, the starting point of Apocalypse. He chose the nickname Night Xiao and selected the Beast Tamer class. In his previous life, he had witnessed a guild get obliterated by a god-tier beast tamer, commanding a dark abyss dragon. This time, with his unlimited funds and resources, he would master the beast tamer class. After finalizing his nickname and class, Ye Xiao opened the top-up, recharge window, and successfully deposited $20 billion into the game. Within the next 3 days, he expected the value of those in-game coins to multiply tenfold. Suddenly, the system congratulated Ye Xiao for being the first player to recharge over $1 billion. As a reward, it unlocked a unique hidden profession called Wealth. Ye Xiao was taken aback. He had never heard of a hidden class unlocked by spending so much money. Could it be God of Wealth? At that moment, a red frog appeared from within the system, casually smoking and speaking to him. Ye Xiao stared in disbelief, wondering where the frog had come from. The frog introduced itself as Ebisu, Ye Xiao's wealth mentor, announcing that Ye Xiao was now the 709th God of Wealth under his guidance. However, Ye Xiao didn't believe the toad at first. How could a toad possibly be a wealth mentor? Feeling insulted, the toad snapped its fingers to show Ye Xiao what true wealth looked like. Suddenly, countless system notifications appeared before Ye Xiao. Innate talent, wealth rolling in, level 1. The most basic ability of the God of Wealth, allowing him to generate wealth. His gold coins will increase by 1% daily. Innate talent, penny pincher, level 1. As a God of Wealth, he rejects all losses. Upon death, no gold coins or items will drop. Innate talent, extraordinary luck, level 1. It's said that money brings good fortune. Possessing immense wealth also grants excellent luck. Innate talent, unmatched charm, level 1. Even the ugliest person becomes handsome when they're generous. His charm increases by plus 150. Innate talent, power of the wealth, God, level 1. As a god, he wields divine power. For every 1,000,000 gold coins he spends, he gains +1 random attribute point, up to 100 points per day. Seeing so many innate talents at once, Ye Xiao was astonished. No wonder it was classified as a hidden class. Although the abilities didn't seem directly offensive, the toad pointed out that any one of these God of Wealth talents could bring unimaginable riches. When Ye Xiao noticed the effect of wealth rolling in, he realized that with his current 2.2 billion in gold, he would earn 22 million extra gold daily, and with power of the wealth god, that translated into 22 free attribute points every day. He quickly concluded that this God of Wealth class was simply overpowered. In his previous life, he had spent all his money on Qin Yanran, but in this life, as a God of Wealth, he was determined to show the world the true power of money. With this golden finger, he wouldn't have to wait to become stronger. Ye Xiao immediately spawned into the newbie village. He noticed there weren't many players around, making it the perfect time to level up quickly. However, starting as a beast tamer was dozens of times harder than other classes. In the early stages, he couldn't tame powerful beasts. He needed a good strategy. The toad chastised him for recklessly choosing beast tamer, reminding him he didn't even start with a proper weapon. But Ye Xiao insisted that the toad just didn't understand. The beast tamer class had the highest potential for growth if nurtured correctly. Just as he was checking his status window, he heard a commotion behind him. Turning around, he saw a group of level 5 goblin warriors rushing toward him. Since he had no weapon at all, Ye Xiao was at a complete disadvantage. The toad, panicking, told him to run for his life, and Ye Xiao, without hesitation, dashed away with the toad in tow. They ran all the way to the main city, narrowly avoiding defeat. Ye Xiao felt humiliated. He had never experienced such shame before. Other players who saw his Beast to Mare class could only pity him, some even mocking him for taming a toad. Enraged, the toad urged Ye Xiao to buy a beast egg in the city and tame a better creature. Ye Xiao, however, refused to settle for an ordinary beast. Confused, the toad asked what kind of beast he wanted instead. Ye Xiao revealed he knew of a hidden dungeon containing a god-level beast egg in a dragon's lair. With that, Ye Xiao headed to the Supreme Hall to hire mercenaries who could help him venture into the dungeon and claim his future legendary companion. However, the toad was shocked to see Ye Xiao heading into the Supreme Hall at level 1. Typically, only players above level 100 could hire guards in such a prestigious place. Ignoring the toad's warnings, Ye Xiao entered anyway, only to be stopped by a level 80 Grand Archmage. The Archmage insisted that this was no place for a low-level player, and politely suggested Ye Xiao return once he was stronger, and had a recommendation letter from the city lord. Ye Xiao admitted he didn't have the letter, so the Archmage ordered him to leave, claiming the Supreme Hall was the Empire's pride, and not meant for someone like him. At that point, Ye Xiao mentioned he had heard the Archmage had recently lost something, and that he was here to return it. Suspicious, the Archmage declared he had lost nothing, and warned Ye Xiao not to lie. In response, Ye Xiao tossed a handful of gold coins onto the ground and told the Archmage to look carefully. Those were the lost coins. A sudden glint appeared in the Archmage's eyes. He quickly collected the gold coins, and his attitude toward Ye Xiao changed dramatically. Showing new respect, he guided Ye Xiao to a VIP room in the War God Pavilion on the upper floors of the Supreme Hall. Ye Xiao couldn't help but smile at how quickly the Archmage's demeanor had shifted. He even teased the Archmage, saying he liked his earlier fierceness. In return, the Archmage assured Ye Xiao that he was now free to enter. The toad was amazed at how well money could open doors. Once inside, Ye Xiao observed rows of powerful Supreme Hall Honor Knight golems, some at level 80 and others at level 100. Even the toad had to admit the Supreme Hall lived up to its reputation. Anyone who hired a level 100 guardian could practically dominate the newbie village. Yet none of these standard golems appealed to Ye Xiao. He considered them beneath him. Suddenly, a berserk blood warrior approached Ye Xiao and demanded to know who had allowed him inside. Ye Xiao ignored his tone and stated he wanted to hire a divine-level golem guardian. The berserk blood warrior scoffed, explaining that divine-level golems were exceedingly rare and generally weren't available for hire. Besides, judging by Ye Xiao's current stats, even an 80-level guardian was already more than enough. He doubted Ye Xiao could afford a divine-level contract. Ye Xiao then declared he was willing to pay 1 billion gold per day, causing the berserk blood warrior to fall silent. His demeanor softened immediately. In a quieter voice, he admitted it wasn't strictly impossible. Rules were ultimately made by people. By coincidence, he happened to know a divine-level spellcaster who might be willing to help, recalling that divine-level spellcasters were incredibly versatile, capable of protection, defense, and offense all at once. Ye Xiao recognized that hiring such a powerful ally from the start would be an enormous advantage. He accepted the Berserk Blood Warrior's offer without hesitation. The Berserk Blood Warrior reminded Ye Xiao that although he could summon the divine-level spellcaster anytime, they first had to settle the payment details for the 1 billion gold per day rate. Ye Xiao proposed signing a contract immediately, agreeing to pay whenever it was required. The Berserk Blood Warrior accepted and said that once the contract was finalized, the spellcaster would be summoned right away. Ye Xiao was eager to proceed. He had much to accomplish and wanted to start as soon as possible. As the contract stabilized, a beautiful female mage suddenly teleported behind Ye Xiao. Her name was Dolores, a divine-level spellcaster. According to the contract, she would follow Ye Xiao's orders for the next 24 hours. Curious, Dolores asked what difficult task he needed her for. Feeling a bit awkward, Ye Xiao admitted he had hired her for a very challenging mission. Dolores, however, seemed unimpressed. She assumed there were no truly tough dungeons in the newbie village, mentioning that foes like the Goblin King, and even his entire family, could be wiped out with a simple wave of her hand. Ye Xiao decided to skip any further explanations and asked her to follow him immediately. Together, they headed to a monster hunting area. Upon arriving, Dolores summoned a massive firewall spell that instantly obliterated the goblin elite warriors in mere seconds. Ye Xiao was stunned by her damage output. It was as if she was knocking the numbers so high, they might as well be phone numbers. The other players nearby were just as speechless. They saw Ye Xiao teamed with a spellcaster, unleashing insane damage values. Some wondered if he was hacking, but quickly dismissed it. No known cheats existed for the game yet. The only logical explanation was that he had hired an extremely high-level NPC spellcaster. Thanks to Dolores' overwhelming firepower, Ye Xiao's level skyrocketed. He soon reached level 10, gaining 10 attribute points to allocate freely. He also became the first player in Novice Village 9527 to reach level 10, earning another 10 bonus attribute points. Even more impressively, he was the first player worldwide to hit level 10, which granted him 50 additional attribute points, and the special title Speed Ascender. The Toad was amazed at Ye Xiao's rapid progression. Most players were still below level 5, yet Ye Xiao had surged to level 10 in just half a day. In response, the system broadcasted a worldwide announcement. Player Night Sorrow has reached level 10, unlocking the level leaderboard. Other players were shocked, wondering how someone had managed to level up so quickly. Some guessed he might be a game master testing the system, but Ye Xiao didn't care about their speculation. When Apocalypse merged with reality, everyone would discover he was the true god among them. With his new level, bonus attribute points, and the 100 points gained from spending 1 billion gold through his God of Wealth power, Ye Xiao decided it was time to head for his true destination. After a long trek, the Toad finally asked how much farther they had to go to reach the hidden dungeon. Ye Xiao reassured him they had already arrived. Pointing ahead, he announced with a smile, "Welcome to the Dragon's Lair." In another part of the game, a player, currently only level 3, had been relentlessly hunting elite monsters from the moment he logged in. Despite all his effort, he'd barely reached level 3, yet someone else had already hit level 10. Is there some exploit in the game? He wondered. He'd never heard of Night Sorrow before, but the news both intrigued and excited him. This could mean there was a powerful rival worth competing against. Back to Ye Xiao. Having finally arrived at the hidden dungeon, located in Novice Village 9527, deep within Whispering Valley at coordinates 1102-254, Ye Xiao placed his hand on a particular stone to reveal a concealed entrance. As he and his companions entered, a system warning flashed. Warning. This area is extremely dangerous. Leave immediately. Dolores, the divine-level spellcaster Ye Xiao had hired, was astonished by the overpowering aura seeping from the hidden dungeon. She couldn't believe a dragon's lair existed within a newbie village. "How did you even find this place?" she asked, both curious and wary. Ye Xiao explained he had no intention of actually fighting a dragon at his current level. A level 100 berserker in his previous life had accidentally triggered a hidden quest, explore the dragon's lair, and discovered the entrance was in the Novice Village. Nobody believed him at the time, so he ventured in alone and never returned. In Ye Xiao's past life, he'd bought that berserker's battle footage for a high price and learned there was a rare dragon egg in this dungeon. Now he intended to claim it. Both Dolores and the Toad, Ebisu, were shocked when Ye Xiao revealed he planned to steal a dragon egg. Dolores warned him that stealing a dragon egg was often harder than slaying the dragon itself. Ye Xiao, however, insisted that someone of her caliber, a god-tier sorceress, could handle the challenge in seconds. Venturing deeper into the lair, the group soon spotted a massive dragon in deep slumber. Dolores froze in place. "That's a Tier 5 Radiant Dragon," she exclaimed in disbelief. "Even a Tier 3 dragon can destroy an entire guild. A Tier 5 Radiant Dragon is in another league entirely." Ye Xiao's eyes gleamed. The egg of such a powerful creature had to be incredibly valuable. He was determined to obtain it at any cost. Dolores, however, shook her head, refusing to fight. Even doubling her commission wouldn't change her mind. She claimed it was simply impossible. Ye Xiao then clarified he had no intention of battling the dragon directly. He just needed her to buy him some time while he snatched the egg. Dolores still hesitated. A Tier 5 Radiant Dragon was beyond formidable. As she started to walk away, Ye Xiao tripled her fee on the spot. With such a massive offer, Dolores finally relented. "I can only hold off the dragon for 3 minutes at most," she warned. Use that time wisely to grab the egg. She then cast multiple buffs on Ye Xiao, each lasting exactly 3 minutes, and told him bluntly, the rest is up to you. Seeing this, Ye Xiao realized just how incredible and terrifying a god-tier sorceress could be. Sister Tao Lacey unleashed her full power against the dragon, using ice arrows to restrict its movement and draw its rage away from Ye Xiao. With the dragon's attention focused on her, Ye Xiao slipped behind it, hoping to steal the dragon egg undetected. He reminded Sister Tao not to let the dragon notice him, otherwise they'd be done for. But Sister Tao was quickly running out of steam. She called out to Ye Xiao that she could only distract the dragon for another minute and a half, so he needed to hurry. When Ye Xiao tried to lift the dragon egg, he realized it was far heavier than he'd expected. He asked the toad, Ebisu, to help, but the toad clumsily knocked over some armor lying nearby, causing a loud crash that caught the dragon's attention. Enraged, the dragon turned toward them. Ye Xiao grabbed the egg in a panic and yelled for Sister Tao to do something. Mustering her remaining mana, Sister Tao erected an ice wall to slow the dragon's advance. But it was nowhere near enough. The dragon roared and unleashed a Dragon King's breath, forcing Sister Tao to warn Ye Xiao to run for his life. She herself fled as well. Seeing her also running away, Ye Xiao shouted after her in confusion, but she reminded him their 3-minute deal was over. She wasn't some invincible being who could take on a Tier 5 dragon indefinitely. Together, they barely escaped the dungeon before they were incinerated by the dragon's breath. Though it was a close call, Ye Xiao successfully managed to snatch the dragon egg. Outside, Sister Tao admitted that if this egg truly belonged to a Tier 5 dragon, then the risk they'd taken would be worth it. She also reminded Ye Xiao not to forget her commission. Because of this mission, Tao Lacey's favorability toward Ye Xiao increased, now sitting at 60. Ye Xiao assured her she'd be paid promptly. He then turned his attention to contracting the beast. The toad teased Ye Xiao, hoping the egg wouldn't hatch into something bizarre. Otherwise, that 300 million he'd spent to hire Sister Tao would have gone to waste. Ignoring the jab, Ye Xiao placed his hand on the dragon egg. Success or failure, it all came down to this moment. The shell cracked, revealing a small green dragon. But there was something odd about its appearance. It didn't look like a radiant dragon hatchling at all. Its coloration was wrong. Taken aback, they wondered if this meant the radiant dragon had been cheated on? When Ye Xiao checked the little dragon's status, he was completely stunned. It turned out to be a mythical tier Azure Sky Dragon, currently at level 1, yet its base stats were already off the charts. Strength, 500. Constitution, 500. Agility, 500. Spirit, 500. In addition, it had several overwhelmingly powerful talents. 1. Absolute Suppression. As a mythical tier beast, the Azure Sky Dragon naturally suppresses lower tier creatures. Deals plus 30% damage to creatures below mythical tier. Receives 30% damage from creatures below mythical tier. 2. Dragon King. The Azure Sky Dragon, as the supreme being of the dragon race, naturally suppresses all dragon-type creatures. Deals plus 150% damage to all dragons. Receives 50% damage from dragons. 3. Mythical Bloodline. As a mythical tier beast, the Azure Sky Dragon has an incredibly resilient body. Gains increased stats upon leveling. HP regen, 200 per second. Mana regen, 200 per second. HP, 100%. Mana, 100%. It also possessed several devastating skills. 1. Earth-Shaking Dragon Roar. A group stun skill. The Azure Sky Dragon unleashes a thunderous roar, shaking the very land. All creatures within a 20-meter radius are stunned for 1.5 seconds, regardless of tier or type. Cooldown, 30 seconds. Mana cost, 2,000. Dragon King's Breath, a single target skill. The Azure Sky Dragon breathes scorching flames that deal 500% of its strength as true damage to a locked target. This attack cannot be dodged. Cooldown, 5 seconds. Mana cost, 1,000. 3. Dragon King's Wrath, a unique talent skill. The Azure Sky Dragon enters an uncontrollable rage, determined to obliterate everything in its path. Deals Strength plus Constitution %. True damage indiscriminately to all creatures within 50 meters. Cooldown, 30 days. After activation, all stats permanently decrease by 5%. and the dragon falls into a 5-day slumber. With 500 strength at level 1, even its basic breath attack would inflict well over 2,500 damage, an amount no normal player could withstand. Sister Tao congratulated Ye Xiao on his extraordinary luck, pointing out the hatchling's absurd stats and immeasurable growth potential. If this azure sky dragon matured, its power would be terrifying. Overjoyed, Ye Xiao decided to name the hatchling Little Gray. The toad was equally delighted that this formidable beast was now unmistakably Ye Xiao's companion rather than his own. But suddenly, Ye Xiao noticed the toad holding something strange, a badge. Curious, Ye Xiao asked him where it came from. The toad explained he'd picked it up from the dragon's nest. Sister Tao recognized it and wondered if it might be the Calamity Tier mark of ferocity. But upon checking, Ye Xiao discovered it wasn't a true Calamity Tier item. Instead, it was simply called Mark of Ferocity, offering +10 to all stats. Unique passive, Ferocity's Might. The bearer gains unparalleled strength. All skills can trigger critical hits. Base crit rate, +20%. Crit damage, +100%. It also had an active skill called Ferocious Massacre, which unleashed the mark's power to deal 1000% of the user's spirit as true damage to a target. This attack had double the normal crit chance, and if crit chance exceeded 100%, any overflow converted into additional crit damage. It also had a 5% chance to cause instant death. If the target's HP fell below 20%, the instant death effect was guaranteed. The skill's cooldown was 10 days. Judging by the badge's monstrous stats, Sister Tao told Ye Xiao it was likely a Calamity Tier item. The toad, however, insisted Ye Xiao hand it over, complaining that he had risked his life to retrieve it from the dragon's lair. Ye Xiao countered that, thanks to the toad's clumsiness, they'd nearly lost their lives, so it was only fair that he keep the badge as compensation. Still unwilling to concede, the toad demanded 10,000 coins per day if Ye Xiao wanted to hold on to the badge. Ye Xiao tried to sweet-talk him, saying they were buddies, and money shouldn't matter between them. The toad snapped back that Ye Xiao only acted friendly when he wanted something. Otherwise, he treated the toad as nothing more than a toad. Ye Xiao simply laughed, saying that with this badge, cutting through goblins would be like slicing butter. But the moment he equipped the badge, he triggered a hidden quest. The Forbidden Adjudicator. Though mighty, the King of Ferocity was consumed by the abyss. Bearer of the Mark of Ferocity, seek the truth. Find the Fang of Ferocity. Startled by the sudden hidden quest, Ye Xiao wondered what the Fang of Ferocity was. Sister Tao, who knew of it, explained that it was a god-tier assassin's dagger, forged from the fangs of an abyssal beast. Known for explosive power, the fang seemed linked to the Mark of Ferocity. However, she warned that reaching the Abyss continent would be a long journey. Before Ye Xiao could ask for more details, his daily gaming time ran out. He would be forcibly logged out in 3 minutes. Sister Tao opened a teleportation portal to return to the Supreme Hall, remarking that she hadn't expected a hidden dungeon in a starter village to take so long. She reminded Ye Xiao that if he ever needed help with another dangerous dungeon, he could hire her anytime. Ye Xiao said his goodbyes and logged out to rest, since the Doomsday game was still in beta and hadn't fully merged with reality yet. No need to push his body too hard. The next day, at Ye Xiao's home, Ye Xiao browsed the internet for news about Doomsday and found countless popular articles discussing the game's dominance in the gaming community. It topped discussion charts, and players were complaining about the game's difficulty. Many spent entire days playing, but only reached level 2, dying repeatedly, and suffering stat resets. Some posts also mentioned Ye Xiao, the mysterious player who'd reached level 10 in just 1 day, while most couldn't even scrape together enough experience to level once. Many questioned if he was cheating or hacking. There were more serious reports as well. On Doomsday's first day, many players died in-game and experienced severe physical symptoms after logging out, with some even requiring hospitalization. Cases of organ failure among survivors were emerging. In response, several governments had issued warnings against playing the game. Because of so many reported deaths, multiple nations were now banning Doomsday. Seeing this news, Ye Xiao could only laugh. He knew that once the game merged with reality, those countries would regret it, and everyone would suffer. While he was enjoying his morning, his phone suddenly rang. It was his girlfriend, Qin Yanran, calling from Northwa Hospital. She demanded Ye Xiao bring some food for Zhou Hong and pay his medical bills. If he did so, she would act as if nothing had ever happened between them. In response, Ye Xiao ended the call and blocked her number, unwilling to tolerate her demands any longer. Meanwhile, at the hospital, Zhou Hong asked Qin Yanran if she was sure Ye Xiao would come just because she called. Qin Yanran told him not to worry. She believed Ye Xiao loved her so deeply that he would show up the moment she summoned him, like a dog. They seemed pleased with themselves until a doctor appeared, telling them they would have to settle their bill and be discharged early. Qin Yanran questioned why they needed an early discharge. The doctor explained that the hospital was overwhelmed with organ failure patients, people who had been playing Doomsday, and they were running out of beds. Yanran sarcastically asked if they considered poor people's lives worthless, but the doctor insisted they pay their bill and vacate the room by day's end. Zhou Hong stopped Yanran from arguing further. He said that the game clearly wasn't simple, and he intended to get discharged so he could keep playing. First, however, he asked Yanran to cover the hospital fees, but she didn't have any money. She had refused Ye Xiao's monthly allowance. Zhou Hong then remembered that Ye Xiao used to give her 200,000 yuan every month for living expenses, but Yanran stated she wouldn't take any of Ye Xiao's filthy money, insisting she was not some object he could buy with lavish gifts. She felt sick just thinking about him. Growing worried, Zhou Hong told Yanran to send Ye Xiao another message, asking for money, because he planned to start a Doomsday gaming studio. For Ye Xiao, that kind of money was nothing, but for them, it was crucial. Yanran reassured Zhou Hong that once Ye Xiao showed up, she would say a few sweet words, and he would obediently hand over the money. Meanwhile, at Ye Xiao's home, he had been sleeping after logging out of the game. When his alarm went off, he woke up, ready to log back into Doomsday. He wanted to continue leveling up before the beta fully merged with reality. Upon logging in, he found himself back in Novice Village. He summoned the toad, Ebisu, and told him they needed to level up quickly and leave the village. However, in a place where most players were still level 1 or 2, Ye Xiao, already level 10, stood out significantly. A crowd began gathering around him, amazed that the top-ranked player on the leaderboard was right there. People were curious, some inviting him to join their teams, even offering cute little girls in their parties as incentives. Despite changing into a masked outfit to hide his face, Ye Xiao couldn't conceal the level floating above his head. To escape the attention, he ran out of the novice village as fast as he could. Unfortunately, other players, still chasing him for answers or opportunities, followed him outside. Even after leaving the village, they continued pursuing him, determined to catch up to the game's most mysterious powerhouse. To escape the pursuing crowd, Ye Xiao rushed into a level 10 trial zone, a treacherous area with monsters too powerful for the level 2 or 3 newbies who had been chasing him. Just as he'd hoped, they all stopped at the entrance, unwilling to risk their lives. With a sigh of relief, Ye Xiao noted that they weren't stupid. They knew better than to follow him any further. He continued onward until he saw a castle with a guard standing at the entrance. The guard told Ye Xiao that this wasn't a place for someone of his level, but Ye Xiao replied that he was there to begin his advancement trial. Surprised by Ye Xiao's level 10 status, the guard asked if he had a team. Ye Xiao declared that he was going in solo, causing the guard to scoff at his arrogance. Even on normal difficulty, attempting this trial alone was nearly suicidal. Ye Xiao dismissed the guard's concern, boasting that he wouldn't die so easily. Shaking his head, the guard decided Ye Xiao was just another reckless kid. Standing on the magical circle that started the trial, Ye Xiao was presented with several difficulty options: normal, hard, nightmare, hell, and abyss. Without hesitation, he chose the highest setting, abyss, and confirmed he would enter alone. The guard watching was in disbelief. A mere level 10 player trying to tackle abyss difficulty by himself? Ye Xiao recalled that in his previous life, he had tried this trial with full bronze gear and an elite team, yet they'd nearly been wiped out because he'd had to babysit Qin Yanran. This time, he was determined to get revenge and erase the shame of his past. Summoning Little Grey, his mythical grade azure sky dragon, he felt confident he had nothing to fear. Suddenly, Ye Xiao heard movement behind him. It was a level 10 mutated snow wolf with 5,000 HP and 5,000 MP. along with imposing stats: Strength 300, Constitution 500, Agility 300, and Spirit 500. As an abyss creature, once it locked onto a target, it was like facing death itself. Even Ye Xiao felt a twinge of fear. 5,000 HP was immense for a level 10 monster. He quickly commanded Little Gray to attack. The dragon unleashed Dragon King's breath, dealing a massive 2,500 damage. Little Gray followed up with physical claw attacks that did another 500, 600 damage. The Snow Wolf's HP plummeted, sending it into a berserk state. Before it could strike back, Little Gray used earth-shaking dragon roar, stunning the wolf and leaving it helpless. Then, another Dragon King's breath finished the job. Upon defeating the wolf, Little Gray leveled up 4 times in a row. Ye Xiao was thrilled to see such rapid progression, plus 4 levels in an instant. Checking Little Gray's updated stats, he found that the dragon gained plus 150 tolerance to each stat per level, confirming that mythical-grade beasts grew at a terrifying rate. It even unlocked a new, incredibly powerful skill. The Snow Wolf also dropped some impressive loot: a Blood Wolf Fang dagger, dark gold grade, and a Snow Wolf bow, dark gold grade. Ye Xiao marveled at the quality. Mutated bosses in Abyss. Difficulty seemed to drop vastly superior items compared to his past life. While he was inspecting his new gear, another demonized monster suddenly appeared behind him. Its stats were just as insane. Without hesitation, he ordered Little Gray to engage. After half an hour, he finally defeated the Dark Abyss Tiger. Yet, after such a fierce battle, he was so exhausted it felt as if his legs would fall off. Still, defeating the Dark Abyss Tiger yielded several dark gold grade items, including a pitch black sword, one-handed, and a spiked tiger shield, one-handed. Toda also picked up several pieces of gear. With this equipment, once he returned to the city, he could earn a decent amount of gold. However, Ye Xiao told him that he wasn't heading back. Instead, he wanted to challenge the trial boss and take it down. Toda was shocked. He asked Ye Xiao if he was joking. Even though they had killed so many monsters, Ye Xiao was still only level 7. How could he possibly handle the boss alone at that level? Ye Xiao told Toda not to worry. In his previous life's Abyss trial, the final boss was only Lord level, with Little Gray, who could easily take down 2 demonic monsters. And with everyone's help, defeating a Lord-level boss would be as simple as slicing vegetables. He promised Toda he would show him what it meant to be a pro. Toda, however, was skeptical. They soon reached the deepest part of the abyss. The system immediately warned them that they had entered an extremely dangerous area and advised them to flee. Nevertheless, Ye Xiao was determined to see this through. In his past life, he had been a man of honor, trapped by love and emotions, only to be betrayed in return. But in this life, he was the Abyss Envoy, wielding the strongest power of the Apocalypse, and he refused to leave before fully embracing the Abyss. Advancing further, they came upon a fearsome monster seated on a throne. It was the Abyss Wanderer King, boasting overwhelming stats. Many of its attributes, like health, talents, and skills, were unknown, likely because Ye Xiao's level was too low to see them. Everyone was stunned. They had expected a Lord-level enemy, but instead found themselves facing a King-level boss. Ye Xiao was just as astonished. In his past life, the boss had clearly been Lord-level. Why was it King-level now? With 5,000 spirit points, it was purely magic-based, possessing 0 strength and agility. Its normal attack damage was negligible, and its attack speed was extremely slow. But if any of its spells struck Ye Xiao, he would be done for. Knowing a King-level boss was no joke, Ye Xiao ordered Little Gray to follow his commands precisely. Since the boss was slow, he instructed Little Gray to keep moving and attacking, never to engage in a prolonged fight. Little Gray obliged by constantly repositioning and striking, giving the King-level monster no chance to counterattack or activate its abilities. Ye Xiao was thrilled. If everything went according to plan, they would soon bring it down. But suddenly, Ye Xiao noticed the monster was just staring at him, not moving. He realized something was amiss, and he was right. The monster had been preparing a powerful magic spell aimed directly at him. Toda cried out for Ye Xiao to dodge. He barely managed to evade the spell, but the boss continued focusing all its attacks on him. Confused about why the boss singled him out, Ye Xiao called for Little Gray to help before he ran out of stamina. Little Gray rushed in, unleashing a Dragon King's breath that sent the boss crashing into a distant wall. If the boss didn't die soon, Ye Xiao would collapse from constant movement. Irritated and frightened, Toda shouted that if Ye Xiao ever dragged him to such a dangerous place again, he would refuse to come. At that moment, multiple system notifications appeared before Ye Xiao. Congratulations, you have completed the Abyss trial. Your beast, Little Gray, has reached level 10. You are also the first adventurer to clear this trial, and your reward is +5 to all attributes. With the boss finally slain, Ye Xiao exhaled in relief. He then turned to Toda, calling him a coward. Toda argued back. If Ye Xiao was so fearless, why had he run so fast to save himself? Ignoring the retort, Ye Xiao approached the fallen boss to see what kind of loot a king-level monster would drop. Meanwhile, a loud system announcement echoed throughout the game. Player Ye Xiao from Dacia Nation has completed the Abyss trial, becoming the first adventurer in history to conquer it. He has earned the legendary title Abyss Envoy. This is hereby announced. Players across the game were stunned. It had only been 2 days since launch, yet someone had already cleared an Abyss-level dungeon. Those from Dacia Nation were especially astonished. A top-ranked player came from their homeland, and his name alone graced the leaderboard. This person was truly extraordinary. Many large and powerful guilds immediately began investigating Ye Xiao in hopes of recruiting him. Back in Beginner Village, 9527, the players were excited to learn that the famous new level 10 expert was from their very own village. Zhou Hong, now discharged from the hospital, resumed playing. He told Yanran that if they could befriend this pro and team up with him, they would become famous in no time. Even someone like Ye Xiao, a wealthy second-generation kid, might eventually look up to them. Yanran asked if he truly believed a simple game could help him reach the pinnacle of life. Zhou Hong replied that something about this game felt different, and that she should trust his judgment. He then asked if she had contacted Ye Xiao to help them level up. After all, he was rich and a gaming expert. Yanran refused, telling Zhou Hong that she would not reach out herself. If he wanted to, he could do so, but she wasn't that shameless. Yanran told Zhou Hong to stop bringing up Ye Xiao. It was so rare for them to have some time alone together. Since she had never played the game before, she asked him to teach her so they could enjoy some time together. Realizing her intention, Zhou Hong suggested they go level up. Meanwhile, Ye Xiao had just defeated a hidden dungeon boss and was stunned by the loot. After all that effort, the boss had only dropped a single fragment, an item he had never encountered in his previous life. It was called the Abyssal Stone Fragment, with an unknown grade and currently unidentifiable. Seeing no immediate use for it, Ye Xiao decided to head back to the spawn point, planning to get it appraised later. He had passed the trial, so leaving the beginner's village and heading to the main city took priority. Upon emerging from the dungeon, Ye Xiao found the guard at the entrance in complete disbelief. Someone had actually solo-cleared the trial on Abyss difficulty. Ye Xiao told the guard to stop wasting time and open a path to the main city so he could leave the beginner's village. The guard quickly activated the teleportation gate and congratulated Ye Xiao on passing the trial. He also gave Ye Xiao a guide token, which granted free entry to and from the main city. Ye Xiao thanked the guard for his help. In addition, because Ye Xiao cleared the Abyss-level advancement trial, he was entitled to an epic item, the Badge of Valor. This badge served as proof of a hero, and was only awarded to those who cleared the Inferno-level trial, an extraordinary feat. Equipped with this badge, Ye Xiao's base stats would increase by 20, and his charisma by 3. He also gained a passive skill called Valor's Might, which increased his strength by 10% for 1 minute whenever his HP fell below 30%. Ye Xiao was amazed by the Badge of Valor's effects. After receiving it, he stepped into the teleportation portal and arrived moments later in the main city of Windleaf. The system congratulated him on entering a new area. Ye Xiao was surprised to see how quiet the city was. In his previous life, the job transfer square would have been packed with hundreds of players. Arriving so early really changed the scene. Without delay, Ye Xiao set out to find Beastmaster Gutal. A companion named Toda was puzzled, and asked why Ye Xiao was looking for a Beastmaster when he was already a beast tamer. Ye Xiao just smiled, and said Toda would see soon enough. Before long, Ye Xiao reached Beastmaster Gutal, finding an older man sitting by the entrance. Ye Xiao approached, and said he wanted a job transfer. However, the old man dismissed him outright, telling him to bother someone else. Ye Xiao insisted that he wanted to transfer to the hidden class Beast Whisperer, and that only Gutal could grant it. At this, the old man glared and said that becoming a Beast Whisperer wasn't for just anyone. If Ye Xiao wanted to join this class, he would have to prove his strength first. Gutal ordered him to head to the outskirts and bring back 100 demon wolf cub eyes. Toda was shocked and asked how Ye Xiao even knew about this hidden class quest. Ye Xiao, however, had no intention of spending time hunting 100 elite monsters. Hearing this, the old man scoffed and called Ye Xiao a useless fool, saying that if he couldn't even handle that, he had no chance of becoming a Beast Whisperer. In a huff, Gutal told Ye Xiao to get lost and stop wasting his time. In response, Ye Xiao retrieved the Badge of Valor from his pocket and explained that there might be a misunderstanding. He didn't think he needed to kill any demon wolves. This badge alone should prove his strength. The old man was astonished to see the epic Badge of Valor, shocked that someone so young had already cleared the Inferno-level advancement trial. Ye Xiao then corrected him, clarifying that he had, in fact, cleared the Abyss-level trial. The old man grew even more surprised and asked Ye Xiao if he truly cleared an Abyss-level trial. He also wondered how many people had been on Ye Xiao's team. Confidently, Ye Xiao revealed that he had gone in alone and defeated the Abyss-level challenge by himself. Awkwardly laughing, the old man declared that he had known Ye Xiao was extraordinary from the very start, a true dragon among men. Ye Xiao couldn't help but be taken aback at how fast this man's attitude had changed. Not long ago, the old man had called him a useless fool, and now he was showering him with praise. Without wasting any time, Ye Xiao asked if he could finally transfer to the Beast Whisperer class. The old man nodded, but admitted he first wanted to see what kind of beast could survive an Abyss-level trial. Ye Xiao then showed him his little dragon hatchling. Taken aback, the old man broke into a cold sweat. He could hardly believe he was looking at a god-tier dragon hatchling. He never expected to witness such a creature in his lifetime. However, the old man told Ye Xiao that he might not be able to transfer him to the Beast Whisperer class that day. When Ye Xiao asked why, the old man explained that the Beast Whisperer class was simply unworthy of a god-tier beast. Instead, he would introduce Ye Xiao to the royal chief beast Taming. He handed Ye Xiao a referral letter and gave him directions, insisting that only the royal chief beast Taming could properly guide him. Upon receiving the letter, Ye Xiao triggered a new hidden class quest, Dragon's Whisper. After securing the referral letter, Ye Xiao headed toward the royal city to find the royal chief beast Taming. As they traveled, Toda marveled at Ye Xiao's luck in discovering a hidden class. Ye Xiao then mentioned that the royal chief beast Taming was quite far away and that he had other matters to handle first. Confused, Toda asked what those matters were. Ye Xiao only smiled and told him to follow along, because he needed to complete another hidden quest. Still perplexed about how Ye Xiao knew so many hidden quests, Toda went with him. Soon they arrived in front of a grand, church-like building, where a beautiful woman stood surrounded by guards, searching for something. Jokingly, Toda asked if Ye Xiao planned to sell himself to a wealthy lady. Ye Xiao just chuckled and explained that this was Lady Shirele, the widow of the former city lord, a rich and beautiful noblewoman, but not the reason he had come. As Ye Xiao approached, the guards stopped him and demanded to know who he was. Ye Xiao respectfully greeted Lady Shirele and asked why she seemed so sorrowful. Was there a problem he could help solve? Lady Shirele confided that she had lost a very precious personal item. If Ye Xiao could recover it, she would be deeply grateful. Thus, Ye Xiao triggered yet another hidden mission, Lady Shirele's request. Retrieve her beautiful flower. He reassured Lady Shirele that he would take care of it, then set out to fulfill her request. After that, Ye Xiao headed into the city to look for the flower, while Toda grew more and more confused. He asked Ye Xiao why they were wandering around town if Lady Shirele's flower should be in a garden or somewhere outside the city. Ye Xiao simply smiled and replied that this wasn't an ordinary flower. Toda asked if Ye Xiao actually knew where the flower was, but Ye Xiao didn't say a word. Instead, he walked into a small shop. Toda, now even more perplexed, wondered how on earth a tool shop could possibly stock a beautiful flower. As they entered, the shopkeeper greeted Ye Xiao and asked what he was looking to buy. Ye Xiao said he'd heard the shop sold treasure boxes. The shopkeeper proudly explained that these boxes could contain anything from prehistoric dragon bones to legendary-grade staffs. Then he asked Ye Xiao what price range he wanted. Ye Xiao laughed and asked for the most expensive boxes. The shopkeeper brought out their highest-grade treasure boxes, each costing 10,000 gold coins. To the shopkeeper's shock, Ye Xiao wanted them all. He insisted on buying every single one, then opening them on the spot. Unable to believe his ears, the shopkeeper confirmed Ye Xiao's request and began retrieving all the boxes. One by one, Ye Xiao opened the boxes. Most contained various random items, but no sign of the rare flower. After half an hour, he was down to the last box without any luck. Nervously, he opened the final treasure box, and finally, his luck shone through. Inside was the crystal-white flower, a stunning bloom whose actual use was unknown. Overjoyed, Ye Xiao rushed back to Lady Shirley's estate to deliver the flower. Meanwhile, Lady Shirley was taking a bath, talking with her maid, Lys, about whether anyone would actually be able to find it. Lys nodded and reassured her that, with Lady Shirley's fortune, luck wouldn't fail her. Just then, another maid dashed into the bathroom, announcing that a young man was outside claiming to have brought the flower Lady Shirley desired. Shocked, Lady Shirley stood up, momentarily forgetting she wasn't wearing anything, unable to believe someone had truly found it so quickly. After hastily dressing, she came out to greet Ye Xiao. A guard gestured toward him, explaining that he was the one who had come with the flower. Ye Xiao presented the box to Lady Shirley and invited her to inspect its contents. Overjoyed to see the very flower she had been searching for, Lady Shirley thanked him profusely. Turning to Ye Xiao, she asked what reward he wanted. Money, or perhaps a rare artifact. She was more than ready to repay him for his trouble. Ye Xiao told Lady Shirley that he wasn't interested in money or artifacts. Hearing this, Lady Shirley smiled and teased that if wealth and treasures didn't appeal to him, the only thing left for her to offer was... Blushing in embarrassment, Ye Xiao was shocked by her bold suggestion. He quickly composed himself and nervously clarified that she had misunderstood. He only needed her help to obtain official citizenship status. Lady Shirley laughed, amused by Ye Xiao's noble demeanor and charm, and her favorability toward him increased. "You little rascal," she teased. "So all you wanted was citizenship? That's easy." She called for one of her maids, Eliza, to prepare the necessary papers and her official seal. However, Ye Xiao had another request. He wanted to purchase property in Windleaf City and settle down. He showed Lady Shirley a map and pointed to the location he had in mind. Glancing at the map, she noted that while she understood his desire to acquire real estate, the West District he was eyeing wasn't exactly a bustling area. She asked if he was certain about his choice. Ye Xiao nodded, assuring her it was exactly what he wanted, and politely asked for her help in making the right connections. Lady Shirley agreed and told him she would arrange for someone to contact the real estate agents in the West District. Ye Xiao thanked her for everything. Toda, however, was not pleased with Ye Xiao's decision. He didn't understand why Ye Xiao would ignore the prosperous East District, arguing that buying land in the less developed West District would only lead to losses. Surely that wasn't how to build wealth. Unconcerned, Ye Xiao told Toda not to worry. In his previous life, Windleaf City would be attacked by strange creatures. Even the current city lord would fall in battle, and most of the East District would be destroyed. The West District, being sparsely populated, wouldn't attract as many monsters and would suffer the least damage. Later, it would become the most functional, and therefore most valuable, part of Windleaf City. When that happened, Ye Xiao's investment would yield tenfold profits. Sometime later, Ye Xiao went to the governor's office. The real estate contracts for his purchases had been finalized, granting him ownership of 340 residential units and 184 commercial properties, an investment totaling 1.2 billion gold coins. Ye Xiao could hardly believe he had managed to buy so much with just 1 billion. After he completed the paperwork and paid the full amount, Lady Shirley handed him his citizenship documents. Ye Xiao was ecstatic. He couldn't believe he had already become a citizen of Windleaf City. However, Lady Shirley corrected him, explaining that he was not simply a citizen of Windleaf City, but a first-class citizen of the Dragon Phoenix Empire. Ye Xiao was stunned. He could hardly believe he'd become a citizen of the entire empire, and a first-class one at that. Toda, who was standing nearby, was equally astonished. Even many powerful warlords didn't hold first-class citizenship in the Dragon Phoenix Empire. So he remarked that Ye Xiao had really hit the jackpot. Looking at Lady Shirley, Ye Xiao asked if she was of royal descent. She smiled and teased him, saying, "I can't be royalty?" From Ye Xiao's perspective, her noble and regal bearing now made perfect sense. Curious, he inquired whether she knew the royal beast tamer. To his surprise, Lady Shirley revealed that the royal beast tamer was actually her uncle. When she asked why Ye Xiao was looking for him, Ye Xiao softly admitted he wanted to learn more about the beast tamer profession and related missions. Lady Shirel blushed at his earnestness and explained that her uncle, Ster, was in the imperial capital, though he was eccentric and unpredictable. She promised to try contacting him on Ye Xiao's behalf. Ye Xiao thanked Lady Shirele and gallantly kissed her hand, causing her to blush in embarrassment. She told him not to call her Madam anymore. Sophia would suffice. Because of this, Lady Sophia's favorability increased by +20. The system also congratulated Ye Xiao for obtaining first-class citizenship in the Dragon Phoenix Empire. It announced that his prestige ranking had been unlocked, and that players from Great Xia could now check the leaderboard. Additionally, Knight Xiao had successfully acquired real estate, unlocking the regional housing system. As a result, all Great Xia players had their daily game time limit increased by 1 hour. Observing this, Tota was amazed, teasing Ye Xiao by asking if he had sold his looks to charm Lady Sophia. Ye Xiao only smiled in response. Meanwhile, after the system broadcast Ye Xiao's achievements, many other players were astonished, wondering what first-class citizenship meant. A housing system? An extra hour of playtime for everyone? Many found it unbelievable, while some grew annoyed that they might be considered lower-class citizens. Being a nobody in real life was bad enough. Did they have to be nobodies in the game too? Elsewhere, Yanran and Zhou Hong were hunting goblins to level up when they heard the announcement. They were amazed that Knight Xiao had already reached level 11 and become a first-class citizen. Yanran agreed it was quite impressive, though she thought his name sounded a bit odd. She lamented that if they had a top player like him leading them, they'd probably be at level 4 or 5 by now. Instead, they were struggling to kill a single slime. One of their teammates, angered by Yanran's complaints, asked if she was unhappy with the team. He noted that she did almost nothing, yet gained levels just by tagging along, and she still wasn't satisfied. If she didn't like it, he said, she could leave. Zhou Hong tried to calm everyone down, explaining that it was just a misunderstanding and apologizing on Yanran's behalf. Furious at the lack of support, Yanran declared that she wanted to leave the party anyway. The teammates retorted that if she thought being a little pretty let her act like a princess, she was mistaken. Zhou Hong grew upset and asked Yanran how they were supposed to level up now that it was just the two of them. She snapped back that he had promised to help her level up, but when the others insulted her, he didn't defend her. "Do you even care about me?" she demanded. Zhou Hong apologized, admitting he was wrong. He then asked if Yanran had contacted Knight Xiao to play Apocalypse with them. Yanran refused, saying, "Why should I contact him first? He always contacts me first." Zhou Hong apologized again, saying he knew she had her pride, but begged her to reach out to Ye Xiao just this once so he could help them level up. Moved by his plea, Yanran agreed to consider it, telling Zhou Hong she would message Knight Xiao after she logged off. Zhou Hong bade her goodbye, saying he'd be waiting for good news. Yanran logged out, picked up her phone, and decided to contact Ye Xiao. Although she found his extravagant spending a bit crude, she was willing to give him another chance. She sent Ye Xiao a message, saying that she was playing a game called Apocalypse. She urged him to hurry up, buy the necessary equipment, and then help her and Zhou Tao level up. If he could get her onto the ranking board, she might even consider becoming his girlfriend, a gesture she felt was quite generous on her part. 5 minutes later, still no reply. Checking her phone again, she discovered that Ye Xiao had actually deleted her from his friends list. Outraged, Yanran demanded to know how he dared to remove her. She swore that from that day on, they were completely through. Even if he knelt and begged her like a dog, she would never forgive him. Meanwhile, inside the game at Windleaf City's Eastern District, Ye Xiao remarked to Tota that the Western District would soon flourish just as this one had. He had come to identify some of his newly acquired items, so he headed to an appraisal shop. However, the shopkeeper informed him that they only appraised silver-grade equipment and above. If he had bronze-grade equipment, he would have to visit another shop outside the city. In response, Ye Xiao took out one of his dark gold tier items and asked if the shopkeeper could handle it. The shopkeeper examined the piece in surprise. It truly was dark gold grade. Grinning, he assured Ye Xiao that, as a gold-tier appraiser, he had over an 80% success rate. The only catch was that dark gold grade appraisals cost 100 gold coins each. Unfazed, Ye Xiao handed over the money and mentioned he had several more dark gold tier items to be appraised as well. The shopkeeper was stunned. This customer was clearly loaded. Ye Xiao urged him to hurry, as he was in a rush. The first item appraised was a blue crystal necklace called the Night Pendant, level 10, dark gold grade. It granted plus 40 spirit, plus 40 strength, and minus 20% dark attribute damage taken. The shopkeeper was astonished by its impressive stats. Ye Xiao was equally pleased. Over the next while, all of Ye Xiao's dark gold items were successfully appraised. He equipped a few, boosting his base attributes to Strength, 142, Constitution, 99, Spirit, 264, Agility, 110. His special attributes were now Luck, 65, and Charm, 68. With these stats, Ye Xiao felt much more confident in his abilities. Toda then asked what their plan should be, noting that Lady Sophia had yet to send any updates. Ye Xiao decided they might as well head to Grey Mist Valley for some leveling. Moments later, they arrived. Toda was startled by the sight of level 20 monsters, warning that it wasn't a suitable place for a level 11 player. Ye Xiao nodded in acknowledgement, but before they could proceed, a group of level 21 gray hyenas appeared. Corrupted by the valley's gray mist, these hyenas were more violent than normal, known to strike from behind. Ye Xiao quickly summoned Little Gray to fight them. The little dragon unleashed a dragon breath attack, instantly defeating the gray hyenas. Meanwhile, Ye Xiao calmly sipped tea, noting that although the monsters here were high level, they approached on their own, and Little Gray could handle them. For 2 hours, Little Gray fended off every monster that wandered too close. By the end, Ye Xiao had easily reached level 12, and Little Gray had also hit level 12. Ye Xiao was amazed at how straightforward leveling had become. At this rate, he might reach level 20 in just a few days. While looting the fallen monsters, he discovered a beginner fireball spell scroll. Toda joked that a beast tamer using fireball might look odd, but Ye Xiao merely smiled, insisting that more skills were always better. He successfully learned Fireball, which dealt 150% of his spirit as magic damage, had a 1-second cast time, cost 50 MP, and had a 5-second cooldown. Just then, one of the gray hyenas charged at Ye Xiao. Eager to try his newly learned Fireball spell, he cast it, only to see it deal a mere 31 damage. Stunned by how weak it was, Ye Xiao began wondering why the spell's damage was so low. Toda burst out laughing, joking that Little Gray's farts would do more harm. Ye Xiao ignored him and checked the time, realizing that only 2 hours remained before the official public release began, on the 3rd day of Doomsday. At that moment, all citizens of the Great Sia Kingdom aged 16 and above would be forcibly pulled into this dangerous game, bringing about a massive change in the world. As predicted, exactly 2 hours later in the real world, dark thunderclouds filled the sky. A glowing blue system window appeared before everyone aged 16 and older, displaying the words, "Doomsday. Entering game." Confused people wondered if it was some kind of midnight prank, until they were abruptly pulled into the Doomsday game. Some had been soaking in a bathhouse, others were eating, and many questioned whether they had just been transported to another dimension. Yanran and Zhou were likewise forced into the game. Yanran, disoriented, wondered why she had automatically logged in. Zhou, equally confused, said he had been sharing a midnight snack with Wang Wan and others when he was pulled in. Glancing around, they realized that countless people had also been taken. It was now clear that Doomsday was merging with reality. Zhou asked Yanran if she had contacted Ye Xiao about power leveling them, but she snapped that she wanted nothing to do with him. Even if he begged her, she wouldn't acknowledge him. Instead, she'd planned to reach out to the legendary Night Xiao, the #1 ranked player. Startled, Zhou asked if she truly knew the top-ranked player. Yanran smiled and admitted she didn't. Yet, but no man had ever resisted her charms, so she'd intended to make him help them. Just then, a system-wide announcement echoed throughout the game, informing everyone that all citizens of the Great Sia Kingdom, aged 16 and above, had been forcibly logged into Doomsday. The logout function had vanished, making voluntary departure impossible. Furthermore, each player's spawn point corresponded to their real-world location. Those who lived closer together found themselves near each other in-game. More ominously, if a player died in the game, they would not return to the real world. At this revelation, the new arrivals realized that something was gravely amiss. Many recalled that Night Xiao had raced through the beta, leveling up with shocking speed. Some speculated he might be a game master, believing that if anyone knew how to escape, it would be him. Determined, they vowed to find him at all costs. Meanwhile, in Newbie Village number 001, a man called Immovable Mountain stood atop a hill, listening to a subordinate kneeling before him. The man reported they had yet to discover any way of exiting the game and might be permanently trapped. Immovable Mountain asked for news about Night Xiao, but his subordinate explained that Night Xiao, already level 12, was no longer in the newbie zone, and they had no means to contact him. Inquiring next about Chen Kuang, or Kuang Blade, Immovable Mountain was surprised to hear he was only level 4. The subordinate said that despite grinding ceaselessly, Doomsday's difficulty prevented most from progressing. Many people were stuck at level 2. Immovable Mountain marveled at how extraordinary Night Xiao must be, then ordered his men to spread the word. They had to locate this top player. Around that time, Ye Xiao received a message from Lady Sophia, summoning him to the Duke's mansion with news about what he had been investigating. Thrilled that details about the royal beast tamer had come so quickly, Ye Xiao set off for the mansion without delay. As Ye Xiao entered the mansion, he was momentarily stunned by Lady Sophia's revealing outfit. Blushing with embarrassment, he thought she looked incredibly seductive. Who could resist that? Quickly changing the subject, he asked if there was any news about the royal beast tamer. Lady Sophia explained that her uncle, Stir, was currently traveling and couldn't return just yet. Disappointed, Ye Xiao felt his hopes sink, but Lady Sophia continued, saying that her uncle had asked her to tell Ye Xiao how to unlock the hidden class. Surprisingly, it was located right here in Windleaf City. Ye Xiao's eyes lit up. He'd assumed he would have to travel to the ends of the earth, only to discover the treasure was practically in his own backyard. He pressed Lady Sophia for details, and she hesitantly told him that, according to her Uncle Stir, a very powerful dragon resided at the top of Dragon Ridge, just outside the city. Beneath that dragon's lair lay a labyrinth. Deep inside it, Ye Xiao, recalling his past life knowledge, asked if she meant the cave maze. Startled, Lady Sophia wanted to know how he knew its name. Ye Xiao sidestepped the question, claiming he had heard of it before. In his previous life, he had grinded the cave maze extensively, facing only a level 80 demonized boss. No dragon. He wondered if something had changed this time. Lady Sophia confirmed that her uncle insisted a dragon guarded that area. Without hesitation, Ye Xiao decided to check it out immediately. Alarmed, Lady Sophia reminded him he was only level 12, and that adventurers far stronger than him had never returned alive from a level 80 zone. He assured her that he had his methods. Toda grinned, chiming in that Ye Xiao had once stolen a dragon egg, so a mere labyrinth was nothing. Give him enough money, and he'd even take down a dragon. Dealing with dragons was Ye Xiao's specialty, apparently. Retrieving his Supreme Hall token, Ye Xiao summoned Dolores. Lady Sophia was stunned. How could a level 12 player possess a Supreme Hall token? Dolores appeared and asked why Ye Xiao had called Big Sis this time. Ye Xiao explained he had a big job for her. Surprised, Dolores asked if this was another dragon-related mission. When Ye Xiao nodded, Dolores couldn't help but ask if he had some grudge against dragons. After all, he'd nearly broken her back last time while stealing that dragon egg. Dolores initially refused, telling him to hire someone else. Ye Xiao then offered her the same payment as before, 2 billion gold coins. Though tempted, Dolores still declined, explaining that she was injured and needed recovery time. She could accompany him in a month once healed. In response, Ye Xiao mentioned knowing the location of the Holy Spirit Spring, which could speed her recovery. Shocked, Dolores demanded to know if he was serious. If he truly knew where it was, she would go with him even if it killed her. Ye Xiao confirmed it was in the Lost Lands, and they struck a deal. Watching from a distance, Lady Sophia thought Ye Xiao was beyond anything she could have imagined. She couldn't help but anticipate his future growth, perhaps even to the level of a god-tier powerhouse. Meanwhile, outside the beginner village, many players gathered around a man named Wang Qiang, who had just been slashed twice by a goblin. After respawning, his organs began failing. Panic spread as people realized the game could truly kill them. Everyone wanted to go home, but nobody knew how to log out. Suddenly, someone mentioned hearing about a player who had already reached level 12. Maybe they should find him and ask for help. On the other side of the world, Ye Xiao and his group reached Dragon Ridge, where the Holy Spirit Spring was rumored to be. Toda, admiring the area's beauty, remarked that it hardly seemed like a dragon's hiding place. Dolores cautioned him that the more peaceful a place looked, the deadlier the danger lurking there. Ye Xiao agreed, pointing out that the monsters here were level 80. Without Dolores's level suppression buff, they would already be surrounded. Since they were heading for the labyrinth, it was best to avoid unnecessary battles. Suddenly, they noticed a huge dragon city perched atop the mountain. Dolores nervously asked if Ye Xiao really knew where the labyrinth entrance was, noting that the dragon above was tier 5. She did not want to be spotted. Ye Xiao told her to relax, insisting that the dragon wouldn't see them. He led them to a steep slope on the mountainside, where a massive stone gate stood adorned with a mysterious magic pattern. Examining the magical array, Dolores remarked on its sophistication. She saw no lingering magic residue and doubted she could open it. Ye Xiao reassured her, drew a knife, cut his hand, and let a few drops of blood fall onto the teleportation array. Startled, Dolores asked how he knew how to activate it. Ye Xiao only smiled in response. He told Dolores that he had his own ways and asked her to follow him. Dolores could hardly believe how mysterious he was. Just how many secrets was he hiding? When Ye Xiao entered the cave system, an inner warning flared. They had stepped into the dark cavern maze, an extremely dangerous area with only one exit. If they failed to find it within the time limit, they would be trapped forever. Worse still, the maze was home to deadly creatures, and they had only 180 minutes to escape. Ye Xiao frowned. An eerie zone? With just 3 hours? In his previous life, he had heard the limit was 3 days. Something was definitely wrong. A little worried, Dolores warned him that this mission was even more dangerous than facing a tier 5 dragon, and asked if he was sure he still wanted those items. Ye Xiao smiled and reminded her that she was a god-tier sorcerer. Surely she wasn't frightened by something like this. Dolores scoffed. Did this brat actually think I'm scared? Laughing, she told him not to be ridiculous. She was a god-tier powerhouse, a supreme hall elder, and a top sorcerer. A mere eerie maze couldn't faze her. Ye Xiao grinned. That was exactly what he wanted to hear. Then he asked whether she knew concealment magic. Dolores coughed. What kind of question was that? Concealment magic was so low level that she hadn't even bothered learning it as an apprentice. Ye Xiao calmed her, explaining that he wanted her to hide their presence and aura. For Dolores, that was child's play. With a flick of her finger, she activated Shadow Phantom buff. Instantly, they merged with the darkness and vanished from sight. Te S Yao was impressed. Just what he expected from a god-tier sorcerer. He told Dolores there were 5 eerie monsters in the maze. 3 level 60 crawlers, 1 level 60 elite boss, and 1 level 80 monster. They would have to be careful. Surprised, Dolores asked how he knew that. They were the first to discover this dungeon. Ye Xiao merely smiled. He couldn't very well tell her he had cleared this maze 800 times in his past life. Dolores, now intrigued, wondered aloud how many secrets he was hiding. Ye Xiao said nothing. Just then they spotted 3 monsters guarding a gate ahead. Ye Xiao whispered that they had to sneak past, without drawing attention, and asked her to follow his footwork closely. Dolores huffed. She was higher level than he was, and had cleared more mazes than he had walked roads. Ignoring her protest, Ye Xiao stepped forward. He slipped past the traps and walked right by a level 60 elite. It didn't even notice him. Dolores was stunned. She took back her earlier words and acknowledged Ye Xiao as her master. Copying his tactics, she dodged every trap and passed the monsters unseen. Ye Xiao glanced back and reminded her to be ready for combat. They reached the final chamber, but to Ye Xiao's surprise, the boss guarding the treasure chest was nothing like the one from his previous life. Standing in its place was a maze guardian Yin spirit beast. Xiao glanced at Dolores. Can you check its level? Level 100, berserk grade eerie boss, she said. Powerful, but not unbeatable. I'll open the chest, he decided. Be ready to strike. Before he moved, Dolores cast absolute defense on him. Better safe than sorry. Don't act recklessly, like last time, Ye Xiao whispered. One slip and you'll alert the beast. Worry about yourself, she shot back, then slipped behind the monster and knelt by the chest. In his past life, it had contained a hidden class scroll, but when he lifted the lid, he froze. This time, the contents were completely different. While he stared, the boss sensed him and lunged. Dolores fired Frost Shock, pinning the creature. Run! I can barely hold it. Ye Zhao sprinted, but the beast broke free and charged. Panicked, he called for help. Dolores flashed in front of him, tracing a 5-point magic formation that locked the monster in place. Only then did Ye Zhao inspect the loot. A cold sheepskin scroll and, more importantly, a glittering diamond. A heaven-rank cooldown stone that could reset the cooldown of any skill or item once every 3 days. With this, I can refresh any ability whenever I need. He marveled. Dolores glanced over her shoulder. So, fight or flee? Fight, Ye Xiao said. Go all out. She unleashed her strongest thunderstrike, and the beast roared in agony. Ye Zhao frowned. Why is it screaming like that? It's not berserk, Dolores warned. It's summoning something. A deafening crack split the ceiling as the dragon they'd glimpsed outside the dungeon burst through the roof, spewing a torrent of fire that threatened to engulf them both. Dolores shouted at Ye Zhao, Run for your life! There's no way we can beat that thing! She couldn't believe they were fleeing for their lives once again. How could a yin spirit beast possibly summon a dragon? Ye Zhao shook his head. Maybe they're just neighbors, helping each other protect their territory. Stop talking and move, Toad snarled. That monster's catching up, especially to you, Ye Xiao. It's gone berserk and it's immune to slow effects. But Ye Xiao stood his ground. There's no way we can outrun it if it's going all out. We have no choice. We have to take it down first. Dolores eyed him anxiously. That beast is level 100. You're only level 12. You can't beat it. I know, Ye Zhao admitted, but I have the cooldown stone and the brutal chapter. This is a perfect chance to test my firepower. Dolores gaped at him, appalled that he would risk his life on such a gamble. Ye Zhao immediately used the cooldown stone to remove the brutal chapter's cooldown, then unleashed his attack on the monster. At first it only inflicted 242 damage. Ye Zhao groaned in disbelief. All that for just 242, but in the next moment the damage numbers began to climb. The tiny hole he had made in the boss's chest suddenly widened, and the yin spirit beast collapsed, killed instantly. Ye Zhao stood there stunned. What just happened? A system message popped up in front of him. Greater than. Because the target's HP dropped below 20%, the forced instant death effect has been triggered. Ye Zhao had single-handedly slain a level 100 strange demonized boss, the Yin Spirit Beast. He jumped 8 levels, soaring to level 20, and his companion beast Little Grey also reached level 20. He stared at his new level in shock, while Dolores was equally dumbfounded. A level 12 rookie killed a level 100 demonized boss? Just then, the system broadcast a world announcement. Greater than Daxia player Ye Xiao has successfully defeated the level 100 strange demonized boss, Yin Spirit Beast. This is the first kill of a level 100 demonized boss. Rewards: Reputation plus 500, Attribute points plus 50, Daxia Warzone points plus 1. Players worldwide went into an uproar. Is this a joke? The game only just launched. How could anyone kill a level 100 boss? Many thought the game was bugged or suspected Ye Zhao of cheating. A few even declared him their godfather and jokingly called him daddy, while others questioned how a level 12 nobody could possibly take down such a powerful enemy. Some believed there must be a hidden trick. Even an elderly player, who had always looked down on Daxia's gamers, was forced to wonder if there was some secret group working behind the scenes. Could the mysterious Doomsday Organization be backing this Ye Zhao? Meanwhile, back in the collapsing cavern, Dolores urged Ye Zhao to hurry. We need to get out, now. But the loot, he protested. No time, she snapped, opening a portal. If you don't move, you're going to die under all this rubble. Reluctantly, Ye Zhao followed her. They barely escaped, coughing as they tumbled clear of the collapse. Dolores laughed breathlessly. I haven't done something that exciting in ages. Ya thanked her. If it weren't for that portal, we'd be finished. They were still catching their breath when the Skyfire dragon they'd encountered before burst from the dungeon, unleashing a torrent of flames at them once again. Ye Yao and Dolores ran for their lives, hearts pounding. As they dodged collapsing rocks and roaring flames, Dolores shouted, If I don't make it, Send me the location of the Holy Spirit Spring and my payment. Despite her apparent desperation, they managed to escape. Once he'd returned to Fanja, the main city, Ye Xiao went straight to Miss Sophia to show her the scroll he'd found in the labyrinth. Sophia was astonished that he'd succeeded in retrieving such a rare item. "You're incredible," she breathed, still examining the parchment. Ye Xiao shrugged casually. "It was nothing, a piece of cake," he said, though in truth he knew he'd nearly died multiple times. Sophia frowned at the scroll and shook her head. "This doesn't look like an ordinary class change scroll." Ye Xiao blinked in confusion. "What do you mean?" "That parchment," Sophia explained, "unlocks your hidden potential, awakening a unique class intended just for you. My uncle, Stir, can guide you through it. Follow me." She led Ye Zhao into a hidden chamber beneath the estate, one he'd never seen in his previous life. In that room stood a stately man with an air of quiet authority. Sophia nodded toward him. "This is Stir, the royal beastmaster I told you about, and my uncle." Stir offered a dignified smile. "I'm the one you seek, Ye Xiao. So you want to unlock this hidden class?" Ye Zhao inclined his head in greeting. "Yes, I'm here for the class transfer." Stir examined the parchment and let out a soft chuckle. "I thought this method was lost to the ages, but apparently I was wrong." He turned to Ye Xiao with a steady gaze. "I'll help you, but be warned, this will awaken the deepest power within you. Don't panic and don't resist. Just let your energy flow." Ye Xiao nodded, excitement coursing through him. "I've waited too long for this already." "Very well," Stir replied. "Listen closely to my instructions. Guide your energy through your body and let the scroll's power merge with your spirit." As Ye Xiao did exactly that, swirling lights burst around him. 5 crystal balls in the chamber lit up, radiating with energy. Stir's eyes widened. "All 5 are activated? That's impossible." Sophia, alarmed by her uncle's expression, asks, "Uncle, is this the supreme class transfer you mentioned?" Slowly, Stir nodded. "Yes. When I underwent this process, I only managed to activate 3 crystals. This young man is pushing beyond human limits. Is he even human?" Sophia's face gleamed with excitement. "So, Ye Xiao really is extraordinary." Suddenly, a system notification appeared before Ye Xiao. "Congratulations, you have completed the class transfer quest, Whispers of the Dragon, and have successfully changed your class to the unique hidden profession Dragon Speaker. Due to the infusion of mysterious power, your class rank has been upgraded. You have surpassed the ordinary rank limit and advanced to the unique god-tier hidden profession, Beast God Master." Power flooded Ye Xiao's body. His status windows blinked, and his new stats soared off the charts. Stir looked on in complete disbelief. "The Beast God Master class?" he exclaimed. "That's a legendary profession. You'll master the supreme power of the Beast God itself, gaining 40 attribute points per level." Ye Zhao stared at his interface, stunned at his newfound strength. In addition, he discovered a crafting blueprint for the God's Guardian set, an evolving piece of equipment starting at epic rank. The materials required, however, were all notoriously rare, meaning he would have to face fearsome monsters to gather them. Smiling, Ye Xiao bowed gratefully to Stir. "Thank you for guiding me through the transfer." Stir nodded in approval. "Use that power wisely. You have the potential to do great things." Mr. Stir rested a hand on Ye Xiao's shoulder. "You've stepped into the divine realm now. Your potential is limitless." Toad nodded in agreement. Ye Xiao smiled to himself. "Looks like I really am destined to reach the peak in this lifetime. But first, I need to craft the Beast God's Claw." Elsewhere in the game world, news of Ye Xiao's solo clear had inspired others. At the entrance to the Abyss-level trial, 3 well-emplaced players approached the Stone Guardian. "Respected Guardian, we wish to challenge the Abyss trial," their leader declared. The Guardian's eyes glowed. "Which difficulty?" The man called Tiger Unleashed stepped forward. "Solo run. Abyss level." The Guardian's stony brows lifted. "Another one attempting a solo clear?" Tiger Unleashed grinned. "I live for challenges, no regrets, even if I die." His 2 female companions wished him luck and promised to wait for good news. The Guardian could only marvel at how fearless these off-world visitors were. 5 minutes later, Tiger Unleashed stumbled back out, bleeding and battered. His friends rushed to heal him. "What happened there?" one asked. "The monsters are mutated, terrifying," he panted. "No one can solo that place." As they poured a healing potion down his throat, the trio finally accepted the truth. Not just anyone could conquer an Abyss-level trial alone. Meanwhile, Ye Xiao had come to the Great Rift to grind levels. The plaza outside the trial was buzzing. Players speculated wildly about his identity and what bug he must be using to level so fast. Ye Xiao ignored them, preferring to lie low. He sat on a boulder, admiring the view while Little Gray farmed mobs for him. With a swipe of Dragon Claw, Little Gray dealt 2,354 damage one-shotting a rock golem. 2 dark gold weapons dropped, a rock-shattering hammer and a rock greatsword. Ye Xiao bent to pick them up, but a shadow loomed. A level 20 Abyss Watcher King boss materialized before him. A King rank boss at level 20. Perfect. Drawing the greatsword he'd just looted, Ye Xiao charged, while Little Gray lunged in from the flank. Back at the earlier trial site, Tiger Unleashed party was still discussing Ye Xiao's exploit. Tiger Unleashed had followed Ye Xiao's path exactly, yet he died when a new world announcement blazed across their interfaces. Player Ye Xiao of the Grand Xia Nation has become the first in history to clear the level 20 Abyss trial. Reward: epic item Stone of Valor and +1 Grand Xia Warzone point. The trio stared in disbelief, while Ye Xiao had just set another record. Moments after the announcement, Ye Xiao finished off the Abyss Watcher. To his surprise, the boss left no loot, only another Abyss stone fragment.